And we're live.
All right. Hey, everybody. We are here with another episode of the Antler Queens covering our favorite TV show, Yellowjackets. And I'm Media Melanie.
I'm Kelly Geist. Hello.
And today we're going to be covering Yellowjackets Season 1, Episode 7, No Compass. But before we dive in, we just wanted to share a couple of buzzworthy Yellowjackets news items.
Yeah. So we got some news about the second season of Yellowjackets. They are going to start filming late summer, and they are referring to season 2 as the winter of their discontent. So they're jumping right back into the winter, which I'm so excited about because that's, clearly when all hell broke loose.
Yes, shit goes down in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, as we saw with in the very beginning of season 1, the very first scene took place in the winter. So I'm so excited. So, and they were out there for 19 months. So I think that would be their only winter. Or am I? Yeah, that would be their only winter out there, right?
I think so. If we're doing the math right, yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be, season 2 is going to be crazy. I'm super excited. But they no word on exactly when season 2 is going to start airing, but they're just going to jump right back in. And then there was, what I was really excited about is Tawny Cypress mentioned that she talked about how Taissa and Simone's marriage is kind of in shambles, and she said it would be really fun to see an adult Taissa meeting up with an adult Van and see where that goes. That would be so awesome.
Oh my goodness. I am really hoping that adult Van pops up in season 2.
Yes.
I'm kind of hoping it's like, Julia Stiles or Lauren Ambrose or some of the people that we've discussed who would be amazing in that role. So I guess we'll wait and see. Can't wait. I'm hoping, they get it on like midwinter, like January or something. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yes. And in other news, it's also been announced that Yellowjackets Season 1 will hit DVD on July 19th, and it will be available on Paramount Home Entertainment. So that is very exciting. The DVD of season 1 will be out. I don't know. I mean, I usually stream stuff, so I don't really get the DVDs, but I hear there's going to be some bonus behind the scenes content. So that will be very buzzworthy, I'm sure, and probably worth buying the DVDs. Maybe we can get our hands on some and do a giveaway or something. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Yes. And in the world of Yellowjackets music, they had recently released the score, and we actually put together a playlist on Apple Music. It's under my profile right now, Melanie Rose, and I've got the soundtrack and all of the score songs on there, and we're also working on a YouTube playlist, so that way you can buzz about while you're listening to your favorite Yellowjackets sounds.
Yeah, this show has such a great soundtrack. There's so many.
Oh my God. I've been listening to the playlist constantly. I love the extended version of No Return from the score. That's been amazing. And speaking of amazing things, I just want to shout you out for being such an amazing designer.
Oh, thank you.
Got some new merch in the shop. It is our MFQ merch. And MFQ, of course, stands for Misty fucking Quigley. And that is all available at antlerqueenspodcast.com. So go check it out. We've got all kinds of tank top, shirts, hats, any item you can imagine with that cute MFQ design. Plus lots of other fun merch that we have in the shop. So go check it out.
Yep. If you have any designs that you'd like to see in particular, let us know. And maybe I could whip something up.
Oh, I bet you can. All right. Well, without further ado, let us dive right into the episode. Kelly, give us a rundown on the director, writers, all that.
This episode was directed by Ava Sorhag. Writers were Ashley Lyle, Bart Nickerson, and Catherine Kearns, who worked on shows like Hacks and Little Fires Everywhere.
Ooh, love Little Fires Everywhere, by the
I
way.
haven't seen it yet.
Oh my
But
God,
I've
you
heard
have
good
to
things.
watch. The book is also very good. I liked the book better, but show amazing. Kerry Washington, so good. Loved it.
Cool. Maybe I
Yes.
will check it out.
Yes.
And the description for this episode reads, as starvation looms, Taissa leads a last-ditch effort and or suicide mission. The Yellowjackets are forced to commit small talk. I love that.
Yes. Yes. These little episode descriptions are very, very cute and clever and witty. They do a good job with the little descriptions there. And the show opens. This episode has a lot of bouncing back between past and present, and we open in the present timeline, and we pick up where we left off last week. We see Taissa. It's nighttime. She's in a tree, and she has the dirt in her teeth. She has a bite on her hand. And she ends up going inside and cleaning herself up, bandages her hand. And, just to note, the bite definitely resembles a human bite. It looks like human teeth marks at first. I was thinking, maybe it was the dog biscuit or something, but it definitely appears to be human bite marks. So, So anyway, she goes to clean herself up, and she needs to go and meet with Nat and Shauna because it is go time for the Blackmail drop.
Yep. And we don't see too much of that, but in the past, I first of all, I want to say I totally hats off to Tawny Cypress because she really did a good job of just conveying kind of the terror that came with her just breaking out of this trance and being like, what the fuck happened?
I mean, unbelievable. With she had the dirt in her teeth, and it was just so gritty and horrific. I mean, this is a horror show, and it really fits in well, with the genre.
Yeah. So then we cut to the past real quick, and Taissa is explaining to the group that she wants to leave and head south. She thinks it's their only hope for survival, which is, pretty daunting and seems a little crazy, but there are no options at this point other than sit and hope they get rescued. So everybody, for the most part, is totally against it, but she's willing to go alone if she has to. She's just ridiculously brave. And she even acknowledges that she absolutely knows that she'll die out there if she's wrong. But she's willing to do it.
And she mentions we're talking, dying feels like falling asleep cold, which is something that might foreshadow something later, which we could touch upon in spoilers. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And she mentions that it's going to keep getting colder. So they're clearly getting closer to winter. I don't know. They're not. The one thing the show isn't super clear about exactly, what month they're in. Or I think that's good because then it kind of puts you you're kind of in the same confused state that they're in as far as time goes. But they, it's funny because I'm so used to The Walking Dead where an entire season could be covered over 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And, Yellowjackets is they start off in the spring and they're already almost at winter. So they move pretty quickly. But Van has a great line here. She reminds Ty that nobody knows what the hell's out there. She said, "What are you now, Edmund fucking Hillary?"
I loved that. I love Van's one-liners, like I say in almost every episode here. And of course, we know Edmund Hillary. I Googled to confirm because I was pretty sure, but he was the first one to summit Mount Everest. So,
yes, the first one on record.
Reference. First one on record, correct? Yes. So anyway, nice little tidbit by Van.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of talk about the Sherpas and scaling Mount Everest first, but he's the first one on record to do it, which is there are 300 bodies on Mount Everest, something like that.
I've heard that. I wasn't sure the exact number, but I've heard, once you're up there, they don't remove your body, so it's kind of a grave of hikers past, I suppose.
Yeah.
Little creepy.
Yeah, crazy. But then we cut to Lottie and Laura Lee, and they're checking out a burnt deer carcass. I think, is that the one that they were eating off of?
Yes, I believe it was the maggot-ridden one from the last episode that
Oh,
was
okay.
like rotting from the inside. I think they
Gotcha.
they burned that because it seems like bad.
Okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Yes.
And Lottie manages to find a bone that didn't burn for some reason. So she thinks that's curious, and so she picks it off the deer and pockets it. And Laura Lee asks her why she didn't tell Taissa about her dream, which we haven't heard about yet. She asked Lottie why she didn't tell Taissa about her dream, and she says she wouldn't have listened, which is probably smart because I think most people would agree that Taissa would blow her off.
Yep, absolutely.
And then we cut back to Ty, and she's cutting her hair short. She's about to go on a pretty dangerous mission, so she probably doesn't want to have any, long hair can be kind of a hazard.
Right.
So it's pretty smart of her that she's cutting off all her hair. But it's kind of funny because she has a mullet for about 2 seconds before she cuts the rest of it off. And I was like, oh my God, please let her keep the mullet.
That would have been funny. Little biz in the front, party in the back.
Yeah. And Van says she's coming with her. And she I like that Taissa didn't try to stop her from that. Because it's so, TV shows have this habit of doing this melodramatic, I'm coming with you. No, you're not.
Yep. Yeah, she very easily agreed. And really, I mean, it was very sweet of Van to offer. We know that obviously they have a connection. And it just, I think, kind of speaks to their closeness and relationship. And, Ty probably wouldn't admit it, but she probably wants Van there because Van makes her feel comfortable, right? They, have a thing. So that's nice. They're in it together, and Van is definitely going.
Yeah. And Van tells her this cute story about how when she was 7 years old, her parents took her to New York City for her 7th birthday. And all she wanted to do was get a soft pretzel and go for a horse and carriage ride in Central Park. And they took her to see cats.
Yeah, and she did not seem like she wanted to go see cats. That was not on Van's plan.
No, that's Misty's 7th birthday dream.
100%.
But yeah, so Van explains to her, it was really cute. Van explains to her, she still has this goal to go to the city and get a soft pretzel and ride a horse and carriage through Central Park. And she wants to take Van there and do these things with her. And she refuses to die there without at least trying to do something about it. So I thought that was really cool.
I appreciated it. It really showed, a personal side to Van, recollecting, and also her optimism for the future. She doesn't want to die out there. Nobody wants to die out there. So, I like that she's future facing and, picturing herself with Ty in the future, which is very cute.
Yeah, definitely. I love Taissa. And then Mari and Akila come out and decide that they're going to come with. So they're adding to the group, which is good.
Yes, they are. And giving a little bit more focus to these other 2 characters, that we really haven't seen a lot of. So good to kind of add them to the mix.
Yeah, definitely. The next scene is pretty funny. Travis is packing up some things, and he's got a bottle of Old Spice, and Natalie comes up and she asks if he's going with, and he's like, yeah, he shows her the Old Spice. And he's like, I figured, my mom got it for me. I figured we could use it as a disinfectant or something. And she takes a whiff of it and she's like, ooh, I like it. It's very sexy grandpa.
I mean, you've got to imagine some of the smells that they're whiffing out there are probably not great. So, regardless of how good or bad you think Old Spice smells, probably a welcome scent compared to rotting deer carcass.
Yes. I bet Old Spice Axe body spray, any of that stuff would smell delightful.
Malibu musk. I'm sure someone had Malibu musk in their caboodle back then.
Oh, absolutely. There's Malibu musk all over that cabin. You know,
Oh
there
my
is.
God. Has to be. Yes.
Forget the blood hive. It's the Malibu musk hive.
Oh, I love it. God, they need to bring that back.
Yes.
Or not. I don't know.
I was more of an Electric Youth girl myself.
Oh, yes. Electric Youth is good.
But yeah, so, Travis is like, yeah, I'm going with, because, not to sound like a sexist tool or anything, but I figured they need a guy with them. So, and Natalie's comeback was great. She's like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. You could, with a little work, you could always work on the sexist part. So she's basically calling him a tool.
Yep. And I love that she's convincing him to stay there. Like, that's a very compassionate thing. She very clearly cares for Travis, and it's very cute, and it speaks to their adult relationship too. They've had this bond, and it's nice that he decides to stay with her.
And I'm pretty sure she was about to tell him she loved him.
Oh,
at one point she's like, she's telling him she wants him to stay, and she knows it's selfish. But she said, I think I might, or I think I'm, and then she cut herself off, and she's like, I just want you to stay. And so they kiss, and he agrees to stay. But yeah, I think she was about to tell him that she loved him.
Ooh, big move from Nat. Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, poor Natalie. Poor Natalie.
I know.
I mean, he's not as bad as her dad, but still, she could do better. Yeah. So Lottie gives. We cut to the rest of the girls, and Lottie's giving Van the unburned bone, and she asked her to take it and keep it with her. And that hopefully it'll keep her safe. And she tells her about the dream that she was referencing with Laura Lee earlier. And she said that she dreamed about red smoke and a river of blood. So that's a little creepy.
Super creepy. And, Van kind of like buys into it a little bit. I feel like this is it, maybe an initial moment where, Van gives a little bit of credibility to Lottie. So interesting to see what their relationship might look like in the present day timeline.
Yeah. And then we see Misty, and she's looking out the window, and she sees Coach Ben and Taissa just sitting there having a nice little friendly conversation, and they both look really happy, and they're laughing, and this seems to kind of make her a little bit jealous. And so she started, you can see she's kind of like freaking out a little bit.
She does not want to leave her secret boyfriend.
I know. So, she's like, wow, he seems to really think Taissa's pretty cool. So I need to be like Taissa. So she decides she's going to join the group going out. And, and she, if you're listening to the audio version, Melanie just put up a great graphic that we put up with. It's a picture of Misty hugging Coach Ben, just desperately hugging him, and it says, "I'll come back for you, I promise." She tells him she'll come back for him.
Oh my God.
She's so overly dramatic about it. It's hilarious.
And meanwhile, he's like, oh my God, get this bee out of here. Like, please go. He's so relieved. He's like, sigh of relief.
Yeah. And, he tells her that's really brave of her, which I'm sure just made her decade.
Absolutely. And with that goodbye, then we switch back to the present timeline. We see Nat and Shauna and Ty all meeting up at the motel, and they've got the $50,000, but Shauna is very clearly disappointed at how small the $50,000 actually, in $100 bills is. Like, it's, you're expecting some big bag full of money. So it's funny because they hide the tracker in the bag and just like start throwing in some other random shit to fill the bag up. Apparently secret tracking people is really huge right now. So, tracker, all the stuff in the bag with the $50,000, and they are getting ready to make the Blackmail drop.
Yeah. Apparently Shauna's seen a few too many heist movies. and is, she was expecting to be able to like jump into a pile of money like Scrooge McDuck, but yeah, $50,000 in $100 bills really isn't that impressive.
No, not that impressive.
And she she has this bag that is like it's a duffel bag and it's got daddy written on it with
an Etsy reject is what Nat calls it. She said, what's that, like an Etsy reject or something? Super weird bag.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, so apparently the tracker that she got was one of Amazon's bestsellers. So, everybody's tracking each other, which, I mean, Jessica's following. Maybe Jessica got that same tracker to track Misty with. Who knows?
I mean, that could definitely be. There's a lot of secret tracking going on right now. 100%.
And so then we cut back to the past, and Jackie is confronting Shauna. Shauna's been sleeping upstairs, so Jackie's like blocking the way to her room. And she's not letting her through until she insists what's going on because she's been acting weird for weeks. And she is driving her crazy that Sean is hiding something from her. And I loved, Jackie has this hilarious line that I just loved. She said, remember when your parents first separated and you told me the reason your dad wasn't around as much was because he got a new job as the president at Hello Kitty? That was more convincing than you're being right now.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Like,
I know.
The fact, Hello Kitty of all things too. I mean, random company.
Yeah.
But, Shauna thought she was being cool. And, no one wants to talk about their parents separating. So
No. But if your dad gets a job as the president of Hello Kitty, that you're going to share.
got a lot of cred. Yes.
Yep. You know what? I bet that's entirely why they're friends in the first place. I bet Jackie thought she was cool because her dad was the president of Hello Kitty. And their whole friendship is based on a lie about Hello Kitty.
That could definitely be. I mean, Jackie's always all about like what's in it for her. So you're right. I mean, if her friend's dad is the president of Hello Kitty, she's like, gosh, I'm going to get all of these Sanrio pencils and coin purses and cute little Hello Kitty items because she's always in it for something for her,
We're on to you, Jackie.
Yes, we are.
So, she keeps pushing her and Shauna finally tells her she's pregnant. And Jackie's a little stunned and she asks who she lost her virginity to. And she says, Randy.
Oh my God. Like, talk about lying under pressure. I mean, of all the people, Randy makes sense, right? Jackie wanted them to hook up. So she's placating Jackie a little bit. But at the same time, like, oh, Randy. And of course, we know it's not Randy. So,
yes.
And I don't think it's adding up to Jackie either, right? Like, she's kind of like,
I don't think she's questioning it too much yet, but I think she's just a little bit stunned by the news. To begin with. And, and Jackie's always really sweet when it comes to Shauna. And, she kind of takes it in and she just gives her a hug and she says, we'll get through this together. And, and she's really supportive. Jackie has her moments of being self-absorbed, but she's always been really kind of sweet and caring towards Shauna. Overall, she doesn't necessarily always have Shauna's best interests at heart, but that speaks more to, I think, Jackie's own internal issues rather than, she obviously cares about Shauna a lot.
Absolutely. The dynamic of their friendship is an interesting one, as we see throughout season 1 from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And then after this conversation between Jackie and Shauna, we move back to the present timeline and we see Natalie dropping the bag full of cash into the clothing box as they had arranged. Taissa actually tells Shauna that she's been the one paying for Nat's rehab, and Shauna says that she needs to learn how to handle her own shit. And they kind of have this back and forth where, Ty and Shauna are basically saying like they have a family, they have, a husband, wife, kids, support system. And, for Nat, other than Travis, she doesn't really have anybody. So they're, I felt a little bit of like air of superiority there too. Like they feel bad for her, but at the same time, they're kind of like putting themselves on this pedestal, like they're better than her. But in reality, they've all been through the same trauma and are all fucked up in their own right. But anyway, they kind of go back and forth a little bit about that. And Nat ends up joining them with a bottle of booze. They sit and wait for the blackmailer to pick up the money. And of course, they're watching the movement via the best-selling Amazon tracker in the bag. So, yes. And then we move back to the past again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and actually, I forgot. Ty had a good line. When Nat ended up showing up later, she said, "It takes you getting blackmailed for you to finally care about being late." So that was a cute line.
Yeah, I liked that. And so we go back to the past, and they're walking through the woods, and Van has the bone that Lottie gave her around her neck, and Van is just kind of laughing at her, and she and Van's like, "What?" And Ty's like, I'm just saying, if this was a horror movie, Lottie would be the villain, right?"
Totally would be the villain. And it's funny that they're comparing themselves to a horror movie, because this is like, their world is a whole microcosm of a horror movie essentially right now. So
I love when shows and movies do that, when they get meta like that and start talking about what happens in horror films, like the whole Scream thing,
Yes. Yeah. Very smart. I like that.
Yes, I like that. But yeah, Van is like, hey, she predicted prom queen last year and the whole Mr. Jenkins scandal. So
she's giving credence to Lottie's visions and dreams, right? Like Van is a Lottie supporter, as we're starting to see.
And she was on medication for so long and convinced that she had a mental illness. So which she could still, but I mean, she clearly didn't predict anything about the plane crashing. So she probably wasn't really, putting too much stock into, if she was having visions, she probably wasn't putting a whole lot of stock in them at the time.
Selective visions, right? You would think that if she's having visions, she would have foreseen the plane crashing, but who are we? Yeah. Who are we to judge visions?
Yes. Exactly. So yeah, so Van is kind of buying into the whole like Lottie's clairvoyant stuff.
Yep. And then we move back to the present again. This was kind of funny. It's a little snippet of Misty listening to Music of the Night while naked Kevin Tan is sleeping. She's watching on a screen, with her little camera thing. Super creepy. Last week she was most likely to sell your sex tape because she was like, watching them hooking up, but like kind of weird. Watching someone sleep. Misty. Yeah. Oh, MFQ, you are something. Yeah. And then Jessica Roberts is, of course, in Misty's basement, tied up. She's screaming in the background. And then
that was pretty funny.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You just hear this, Misty, I know you're up there.
Yep. Yeah, she can totally probably, hear the footsteps. And so anyway, Misty ends up going downstairs, and we then go back to waiting for Fuckface, is what they are calling the blackmailer. Nat, can't wait to meet Fuckface. So Shauna is, drinking pretty heavily at this point. She makes some sarcastic small talk with Ty, how are the wife and kids? Oh, okay, great talk. Like very superficial. She could care less about how Ty and her family are. They're just basically killing time at this point. Natalie then comes in hot saying she's been fucking Kevin Tan and now he's a cop with 2 kids. Shauna said that sounds complicated, but Natalie said it's not complicated to her. And like, first of all, speaking of complicated, like, I mean, is Shauna forgetting that she has like a total side boyfriend? Like, well, she's married and has kids. Like, talk about complicated, right?
Talk about complicated. Yeah.
I mean, seems pretty simple for Nat when you're comparing Shauna's juggling of Adam and Jeff.
But I like that Natalie actually confirmed that she does actually, she's not just stringing Kevin along. Because if she was, she wouldn't say that too. I mean, because why do they care?
Exactly. He definitely means something to her.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So even if she's like trying to use him or manipulate him for information or whatever, she still actually, you know, both things can be true. She still actually cares about him.
Absolutely. And like you said, she wouldn't have even mentioned it or brought it up if it wasn't something that was meaningful to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally have the blackmailer coming to pick up the money. They switch out drivers of the car because Shauna is actually drunk at this point, or actually they're driving a minivan, I should say.
Yeah.
So they end up switching because Shauna can't drive. And her line right here is really funny. She said, actually, I probably shouldn't drive because if we die, we'll never find out who's doing this. And she says it in this like super innocent, casual way with her usual like kind of like deadpan delivery. But again, like Melanie Linsky is just completely such a gem. I love it when she has these cute little, you know, one-liners. That was a good one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
And then we're back to the past again, 1996, baby.
Yeah, you know, I want to bring something up here. So they're back in the cabin. It's empty except for Travis and Natalie. Everybody's at the lake, other than Coach Ben, who stayed behind. And he's outside. He's hanging out outside. So they're in, like, Travis and Natalie are in the cabin all alone. And she runs upstairs and finds Travis, and they start messing around. And this is when I noticed Natalie takes off her shirt and she lifts up her arms, and I was so happy to see that she actually had underarm hair, because they're not shaving out there. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, and if there is a razor, we all know who is using it. Jackie. Obviously Jackie, if there's a razor. Yes. So yes. I didn't notice the underarm hair. Very good observation.
Yeah, but I mean, even if they did have razors, I'm sure that they could use them for other purposes, you know?
Right. Like, who cares about shaving at this point? Like, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. So many shows wouldn't go for that kind of realism. They would just, you know, the women would still, yes, Natalie still has bleached hair, which
no roots, incredible. Wow.
but yeah, at least they were realistic with, you know, with the girls having body hair right now.
Yes.
But they start messing around and they try to have sex, but it gets super awkward.
Super awkward.
Yeah. Like, Travis just looks like he's scared to death and just wants to die. And he can't get it up. And at first Natalie says something to him like, I want you so bad. And they zoom in on his face and he just looks petrified. He's like, and he says, you don't have to talk like that. And it was awkward.
It was very awkward. I felt so bad for him. And, you know, like, Natalie was trying what she thought, you know, would get the job done. And poor Travis. I mean, like, first of all, it's like, you know, would be his first sexual encounter, and they're in the wilderness and, like, under very traumatic circumstances. So, like, no wonder. I mean, poor guy.
Yeah. And he can't get it up because at that point, I mean, anybody who looks as terrified as he did, I don't think anybody could.
No chance. That moment's ruined. There's no sex happening between Natalie at this point.
No. So he gets up and leaves, and he's like, and you could tell they're just both feeling really sucky about it. Like, she asked him where he's going, and he's like, I don't know. I just have to go. And he leaves, and, you know, you can tell, like, she's probably thinking, you know, okay, he doesn't like me, you know, but I mean, they're both kind of really affected negatively by this awkward experience.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of surrounding things that are obviously impacting that. So it sucks for both of them.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk in the fandom about like the scene made people think that maybe Travis was molested, and that's by his father, and that like maybe that's why he hates his father. But I don't I'm not necessarily buying into that theory, but I don't think it would be if that were true. I think that Kevin Alvis did a pretty good job of portraying it because he looked traumatized.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When they were hooking up before, I'm wondering like if there was like heavy petting, you know, like if it was an issue before or if it was just when they were actually going to do the deed. So that would be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously like it wasn't an issue before
Mhm.
pre-penetration. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we can't see things in those hookup scenes to know, but yeah, the molestation thing is interesting. I didn't even I haven't read those theories yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really, yeah, like I said, I'm not totally buying into it, but it's not something that would really surprise me or anything.
Right, given the terror on his face. I mean, you're
Yeah.
right. He totally looked traumatized. So it could be above and beyond just the normal like teen guy, you know, sexual pressure thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we don't know. We will find out, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Um, so then we see Jackie and Shauna sitting outside in the woods, and Jackie starts like she, she says she could just picture Randy and Shauna having sex. And she's like, I could just see his little butt right there, just moving around.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And she starts asking questions, and Shauna says it lasted about 3 minutes. Um, and you know, of course, she's making this up because she didn't have sex with Randy.
Big lie. Big
Yeah,
lie.
but you know, Jackie starts getting a little thrown off. Oh, and yeah, we learned that Shauna has some really interesting drinking habits. So Jackie is like, Shauna tells her that it was the night of Mari's birthday party, and she said you and Jeff bailed early, and I had too much Malibu and milk.
Malibu and milk, like I just threw up in my mouth. No, thank you.
No,
Never, not a thing. Ever, 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 ever.
that's
Kahlua
so
and
gross.
milk, maybe. Not Malibu and milk.
I know, that's so gross. And Jackie's just horrified. She's like, "Oh my god, I told you to stop drinking that." And mostly because it's disgusting, not because I thought it would lead to the conception of you and Randy Walsh's love child.
Oh my god, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that his last name is Walsh too. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, is this a throw, you know, back to Brandon and Brenda Walsh from
Oh
90210?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, another little tie-in, right? Like the Laura Palmer, the Jackie Taylor. Now we have a Walsh. First time I guess I've
Yeah.
realized Randy's last name. But anyway,
Yeah.
side note.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, cool. But yeah, then you know, Jackie all of a sudden, you know, she's laughing about it, but then she stuff kind of starts clicking in her head, and she asks, "Are you sure that it happened the night of Mari's party? Because I could have sworn that was the night that I had to go back and give Randy a ride home because he puked in the pool."
I mean, who's a citizen detective now? Jackie's finally like it's clicking and she's like, this is not all adding up. This trigonometry problem is not the right solution here.
And oh man, Randy puked in the pool. What a
Oh,
killjoy. They had to clean that
disgusting.
up.
Disgusting. Between like the belching at the party and the puking in the pool, like, no, thank you. Never would I ever do Randy.
No, and teen Randy is not coming to any of my sleepovers, or adult Randy probably, because I don't know, adult Randy might be fun. Who knows?
He might be okay.
But Shauna's like, yeah, we were both pretty drunk, I guess. So much for making it special.
Oh my God.
But then so we cut to Taissa's group, and they're camping for the night. They're sitting around a fire, and Van is retelling the story of while you were sleeping.
Oh my God. So funny the narrative that she gives regarding that movie, 1995. Nice little nostalgia moment there.
Yep, and she's super animated about it. It's so cute. And she you know, she's telling it like a good storyteller, and she's interrupted when they start hearing the sound of wolves howling. So that's a little scary, but you know, Taissa is like, I don't think we have anything to worry about, guys. Wolves are afraid of humans, and it sounds like they're pretty far off anyway. And so Van is, you know, she's a little frightened at first, but she snaps right back into it. She's like, you know who does need to worry? Our girl, Sandy.
I loved that. I loved
Yes.
that. And then they actually keep it going. We come back to the present. We see Misty in the basement with Jessica Roberts, and
Mhm.
they are watching while you were sleeping.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like, we come right from them, having this moment around the fire to Misty putting it on in the basement. And like, I can't help but think, is Misty like holding on to this moment as like a positive memory, and now it's like a nostalgic thing for her, and that's why she's got while you were sleeping on. And not to mention the undertones of while you were sleeping, like, with Taissa and all the weird shit she's doing when she's
Mhm.
sleeping. So there's a lot of moving parts with while you were sleeping there, from the past timeline to the present timeline to the actual meaning of what people are doing when they're sleeping. And Misty just gives me this vibe here, like she really cares about her friends, and she's really protecting them, and very sincere. And they have this exchange, and Misty says, "I want you to tell me the truth." And Jessica then says, "Okay, your haircut is unflattering," which I thought was great, a little out of left field, but I loved that.
Yeah.
And Jessica then tells Misty that Ty was the one who hired her to look into everybody and see if anybody would talk. She also says that she knows Travis was murdered. And then she tries to convince Misty for them to like team up and figure out who killed Travis together. We find out that Jessica, was at Travis's house, brought him, a nice bottle of booze. So she was actually there before it happened, which is kind of suspect in my opinion. And so they have this back and forth. Jessica's trying to like appeal to her, kidnapper. And then finally Misty says to Jessica, "You only have leverage if I'm not willing to make you talk," which in this case means you have no leverage at all. So, Jessica's trying to make it seem like she's got some value to add here. They can
Mhm.
team up, they can work together. But, Misty is savage, and so she doesn't care and says, there's no leverage at all. And then we move back to the past again.
Yeah, just a couple of notes on this scene. There was one moment in here that it was one of my favorite Misty moments, and I don't know why I just loved this as much as I did, but I did. It's Jessica says something to her, and she starts laughing, and it's like an obviously fake. It's like an obviously fake kind of laugh, but it's almost like the kind of laugh that you want them to think you're laughing, like kind of the laugh, like if you're talking to someone you don't really want to be talking to and you're just laughing at their jokes to make them feel
The
better.
fake laugh. The appeasing laugh.
Yeah. And she just stops and then just slaps her across the
Oh,
face.
yes, the slap. I forgot to mention the slap. She's like, "Oh, this was fun," or something, and then
Yeah.
slaps
Yes.
her and takes off upstairs. Yes, I
Yeah. She
forgot
says
about the
this was
slap.
fun.
Yeah.
I loved that. And also, when they showed the TV screen, did you see what other movies she had up there?
I did not, Kelly, but I bet you're going to tell me.
Well, one was Primal Fear.
Oh,
The other
horror,
one,
horror.
what do you think the other movie was?
Oh my God. Is it Scream?
No, but it's something very Misty.
Misery.
Yep.
Yes, 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 yes. And our most likely to, from I forget if it was the first or second episode, was you picked Misty as most likely to inspire a Misery prequel. So
Mhm.
that's really funny. And again, we're seeing this like meta thing where they're infusing these horror movies into the horror TV show. It's like the juxtaposition of these two universes, fiction and reality. So hey,
Yep, and
love
it's
that
not just.
observation.
Yeah, and it's what's so messed up about it is not just that it's Misty and there are so many comparisons of her to Annie Wilkes, but the fact that she's keeping it downstairs where she obviously keeps people tied up in the back.
Those are for the prisoner. Those are prisoner movies, and she keeps her regular stash upstairs for
Mhm.
regular viewing. But yeah, she clearly has cultivated this collection of appropriate movies for her basement guests.
Yeah, and she kidnaps people and shows them misery. That's how messed up.
Very very MFQ of her.
Yes. But but yeah, so we cut back to the past just real quick, and Shauna wakes up, or Shauna goes upstairs, I'm sorry, and finds Javi going through some of her stuff, and he tells her that he was looking for the hunting knife, which he's been hanging on to, and he says he needs it for some sort of art project, so she lets him borrow it. And I love Shauna's shirt in the scene that she's wearing, because I swear to God that style of shirt was so popular back then.
I feel like it was from like Aeropostale or something.
Yes,
like
it was.
Yes. Yep, it looks like an Aeropostale shirt, and you're right. I feel like I had very similar shirt too.
I remember buying a shirt actually from Aeropostale, almost exactly like that, for one of my friends for her birthday.
Oh my God, that's so
I have a
funny.
weird memory for like the stupidest things. But yeah.
Not stupid. It's 90s, and we love the 90s, which is, of course, one of the reasons why we love Yellowjackets so much.
For sure. But yeah, Shauna's whole outfit, like with the jean shorts and that shirt and then the Converse, she reminded me so much of one of my best friends from that time period. Like, because she totally looked just like her in that scene. It was kind of crazy.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that we're both on the same page with where that shirt came from. Like, clearly we're both 90s fashion connoisseurs.
Yeah.
Mall shoppers. And we are then back to the present timeline. Nat, Shauna, and Ty are all tracking the bag to a delivery truck. And this is like a very action-packed scene. We hear Prodigy Firestarter, which was definitely my favorite song from this episode. I thought it was like so spot on for this like action-packed scene.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very upbeat. Nat's hopping out of the car. She holds the driver at gunpoint and accuses him of, being in on it. But as he's defending himself, Fuckface grabs the bag and takes off running. And he is wearing a ski mask. And speaking of Fuckface, he is our most likely to, and we'll get to that as we move through the scene. But Taissa gives Shauna the keys and tells her to drive around the back to meet him, which is not very smart because, we know Shauna's drunk, first of all. So she's like hauling ass in the minivan. And Nat and Shauna chase Fuckface through the department store. And it's like a very... they're like running through clothing racks. They're knocking shit over. And the blackmailer ends up getting away. Fuckface ends up getting away. But before he does, Taissa tackles him into a box of glitter, which I thought I had a picture of and was trying to pull up. Here we go. If you're watching, we can see Fuckface falling down amongst pool noodles into a pit of glitter. And of course, this brings us to our most likely to of Fuckface, most likely to take first place in the Glitter Run 5K. Yes. And the glitter, is going to figure in here because obviously, glitter sticks to you like glue. So we're probably going to see the glitter again.
And Taissa even has a line about that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Actually, that is here in the notes. Nat tries to shoot at him before Taissa stops him. They discover the tracker was tossed out. So unfortunately, now they can't even go after him and track him. So much for secretly tracking people. And then in the car on the way back, Natalie's arguing with the others. Ty thinks Travis's death and the blackmail might not even be linked. And Natalie insists that it is, very, very passionately. Shauna says it felt for a moment they were going to get away with murder, or get away for murder.
Sorry about that, guys. My dog just started barking.
No big. And then we see Natalie saying, we've done a lot worse. They've done a lot worse. And then Shauna says, don't drag us into your endless fucking pit of guilt. And Nat says, and I know you think I'm crazy, but you know what I see? You guys are just as fucked up as I am. You're just better at lying to yourselves. You're not healthy. You're not stable. You're living on the brink just like me. And if you're not going to help me with this plan, I'll do it myself. And I kind of like referenced that a little bit earlier, like, Shauna and Ty having this, like, putting themselves on a pedestal, but really they've all shared this incredible trauma, you know, and even though Ty and Shauna may cover it better, like with their family and, you know, kids and all that, you know, just because they're not in rehab, it doesn't mean that they're not suffering too. They've all been super impacted. And again, like Nat's passion here really speaks to the bonds that her and Travis had. So she really unleashes, and you know, she's very passionate about it, and she's right. I do think they've all, you know, been through all the shit, and they shouldn't be so hard on Nat because I mean, considering all they've been through, they're all lucky to be alive and be functioning, you know, members of society. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I felt bad for Natalie in the scene. Like Juliette Lewis did a really good job here. Like she just completely broke down.
she did.
Um,
And even before, like when they were doing the chase, like she was just so on fire with like the shooting and the chasing and like the action of that scene. It was like really, you know, an action movie leading up to that moment.
and you know what? I will talk about this during the spoilers, but there was a point in the scene in the whole like scene with fuckface where I something happened that made me think that I knew who the blackmailer was. Did you have any thoughts like that during the scene at all?
I was starting to maybe put some pieces together, and maybe suspect. I wasn't sure, but I know exactly where this is going, and we can definitely cover it in spoilers. But yes, yes.
Okay. um, in fact, I was a little shocked because I thought it was a little too obvious. So I kind of questioned myself. I'm like, oh, okay, I must be imagining things then because there's no way that they would do that if that person was. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it, so we'll talk about it later.
Yes, yes. In our spoiler segment, which is right directly after we do this recap and discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, so then they show them getting home. And yeah, Shauna's got a little surprise waiting for her.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. But before we get to that scene, we go back to the
Oh yeah,
past
we went back
again.
to we did have a past scene before that too. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Oh no,
Um
all good.
yeah, so they come to the girls are walking, Ty's group is walking through the woods. And they come to kind of this off-colored creek that, you know, looks a little reddish. And they decide it's not suitable for drinking. And someone mentions that, you know, they heard that mineral deposits can change the color of the water. And then they start, you know, they think maybe it's iron. And then the compass starts going crazy. And they're, you know, they said, well, maybe, you know, maybe the iron in the water must be messing with the compass. And they start getting a little freaked out by this. And then Mari asks about Lottie's dream and asks Van about Lottie's dream. And Van says that she said she dreamed about fire in a river of blood. And Van's like, I don't know, you know, this dream is a pretty big coincidence that Lottie dreamed about it. Now the compass is acting weird. And Mari brings up the fact that when they found the plane, Lottie said something very strange. She said it didn't want him to leave. And Ty is just like, Ty's had enough. She's like, just shooting him down right away. And she's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And she's got like, I love her little speech that she gives here. And she's just so optimistic and resourceful. And she's like, what, you're saying that the fucking woods don't want us to leave? And they, like, the woods don't give a shit. And all of this stuff with Lottie's dreams and omens. And she says, you know, we can survive without a compass. We'll use cairn stones and use the sun to travel south. And she says there's a solution for everything, an explanation for everything. And she's like, no one forced you to come with me. And she said, you can follow me if you want. Anyone who wants to can head back, but I'm losing daylight. She just walks off by herself. So, like, I love her determination. I mean, nothing's going to shake her down.
Right. I mean, like she said earlier, they're not on an island. So logic would dictate eventually, they're going to have to come to something. They're not, surrounded by water on all sides. So, I mean, absolutely. Like, from a young age, she's showing this like grit and determination, which obviously serves her well in her adult life, with her campaigning and everything. So,
Yeah.
she's a natural born leader and she's trying to do the right thing for the group. And even though it's an unpopular opinion, I mean, it's hard to know what the right thing to do is. Do you stay? Do you go? So she's trying to do what's right, and you've got to give props to her for that. And for that, Ty is my MVP of the episode for trying to be a good leader and, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, she gets both of our MVP spots this week because she's just I love people who don't sit around and complain, who actually take action, and Ty is like the queen of doing that. So
yeah, I mean, actions speak louder than words, the age old adage. And, Ty is putting her money where her mouth is. And then, hey, in the present, she's putting her money where stuff is too. So anyway, that got a little lost. But anyway, we do move back to the present again, and Shauna arrives home and finds Adam waiting outside her house. And it's like 4 a.m. and she's kind of like, dude, what the fuck are you doing at my house? Like, my husband and daughter could be here. And she tries to go inside and he stops her. But, I mean, just to point out, like, Adam's got some balls, right?
yeah.
Like, showing up at 4 a.m. like outside of his car. I mean, how does he know that Jeff's not home? Like, this makes me think, like, are Jeff and Adam in on it together? Like, what would ever make him decide to want to go to her house? I thought that was very strange, and I think we touched upon that last week a little bit too. Like, what is he doing there? Like, the balls on this guy, right? And anyway, so Shauna, yells at him, but that doesn't last long. They go inside and have sex. In her house where Jeff could be home anytime from his inventory database or whatever. So, like,
and
talk about
she tries to send him home first too.
Yeah, and like. And then still ends up having sex with him.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about complicated. She's giving Nat shit for being complicated sleeping with Kevin Tan, but to me, this seems much more complicated. I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's, man, and he did make a comment where he said that he came by and didn't see any cars, so he made a calculation. I almost think that that's worse, because that means that they're not home, but they will be eventually. And when's that going to happen? So yeah, he's got some balls.
Yeah, some total balls, car or not, whatever. I don't care. Like, you don't show up like that, especially at 4 a.m. Like, super suspect. Like, how does he know that she's going to be walking in? There's so many questions that arise with Adam's visit to Shauna's house at this point. And then in the same timeline, Nat ends up getting home, and she had previously been spending the night with Kevin, and she puts his gun back in the holster. So, we know that the gun she was using for the blackmail was obviously his. And she gets back into bed looking like very tired and exhausted, and like, what a long night. And also, gosh, hopefully Kevin Tan doesn't realize I took his gun. Because that's, kind of a no-no. And then we go back to the past again.
Yeah. And, the girls are camping for the night, and they're just all a little tired and frustrated. And Taissa tries to give them a little pep talk. She reminds them that they're one step closer to home, even if it doesn't feel like it. And Van's just like, we don't need another speech, Ty. We just need to sleep. And Taissa volunteers to take the first watch, which I don't think was a good idea. And we'll find out that it really wasn't later on. But I don't know if you noticed, but the camera pans out and she almost immediately closes her eyes.
Yeah, she's like the worst watch person ever. And like, whoever signed off on her having first watch, I mean, anybody else should have had first watch. Like, I feel like Misty would have been a better choice for first watch than Ty, because things get pretty devastating, as we will find out shortly. But before that happens, we move back to the present, and we see Misty in the basement with Jessica, and she's just, no big, casually filling some chocolates with fentanyl using her trademark syringe. She asks Jessica if she wants one and says, she doesn't like chocolate. And then Misty drops that it's a special delivery for Jessica's dad. Oh, God, Misty, MFQ.
Yeah.
Jessica then tells Misty that she went to Travis's and bought him the expensive bottle of whiskey, which I guess I mentioned earlier, which is in this scene. And then, tried to get him to talk, but Travis refused, so she went home. So, I don't know. It is kind of suspect that she was at Travis's house, before he was murdered. Like, did she have something to do with it? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I would think that if she did, she probably would have taken the bottle of booze because her fingerprints would be on there.
Mhm.
You don't leave evidence behind. So logic would dictate that she probably didn't murder Travis, but maybe she knows who did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she does believe Travis was murdered and says that his bank account was closed immediately after he died. So then we start asking ourselves questions like, okay, who had access to Travis's bank account? Who
Mhm.
closed Travis's bank account? Why was his bank account closed right after he died? Like, what's going on there? Was there like did he receive some big sum of money? Like, was he blackmailed? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So many questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I have some thoughts on this too, where we can talk more in the spoiler section too. But I think Jessica knows exactly who killed Travis, or at least who's connected to it.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, and then we cut back to Shauna and Adam.
Yes, they fell asleep in Shauna's marital bed and they're woken up by the sound of Jeff getting home and, they're like clearly shocked. And, Shauna then tells Adam to hide in the closet. Jeff comes into the bedroom. They talk for a couple of minutes and then he leaves. Shauna tells Adam to wait for the sound of running water, count to 10, and leave. And like, this whole thing is just so awkward. Like, we see Jeff getting in the shower, Shauna with this look on her face in bed, like, oh my God, is he going to find out that I'm cheating? Adam hiding in the closet. I mean, it's like, oh my God, there's so many things happening here. And we're like, is she going to get caught? And so we then cut back to Kevin Tan waking up in the present, sees that his gun was fucked with, and he asks Natalie about it, and then they argue. She tells him she took it for an errand for protection. And then, she kind of like makes up this whole story, like she shot it in some park. And then he's like, well, hey, I need to account for every round of ammo that gets shot. So like, where were you? We need to go recover it. She's like, oh, I don't remember. Clearly just, making shit up. And then she just starts getting kind of like a little cruel and aggressive and like, poor Kevin, right? Like she's the one that took his gun, which is a big deal. And she's being, kind of a bitch to him, but obviously she's covering her tracks because she's not going to be like, hey, I was out paying $50K to this blackmailer and I brought the gun, just in case shit went sideways. So,
Yeah.
Poor Kevin, like he's just trying to be a good friend. And like, man, there's nothing more that I would like to see than Nat and Kevin have like a happy ending someday.
Oh, I know.
But
I know.
this is not the path to get there.
Yeah, because Travis is kind of an asshole, and we see him with younger Natalie, and you're just thinking, gosh, she could do better. And Kevin's a good guy, and but yeah, like she tells him that she hates to burst his bubble, but they were just fucking, and she thinks his crush on her is pathetic, and I think I think it's really just her self-sabotaging because she doesn't think that, she feels like there's no way in hell that anything can work out here. So I just need to cut him loose, and that's the way she does it. So it's
Absolutely. Not only self-sabotaging, but like protecting herself too,
Mhm.
self-preservation, So there's a lot of she's continues to protect herself after, again, this crazy trauma that they've all been through that is so heavily impacting their adult lives.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we cut back to the past, and Shauna goes upstairs and she sees that Javi returned the hunting knife. He left it stabbing the windowsill, and next to it's a little wooden animal carving that he left for her. That was really cute.
Super cute. Super cute. And like, again, I love that they're kind of like teasing this thing that like with the simultaneous Javi Adam stuff, like it's Javi Adam, like they both do art, like da 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 da. So anyway, I kind of like those little.
And they always cut the scenes together. Like it'll show Shauna with Javi, and then it'll show Shauna with Adam in the present, like back to back. So they're trying to plant seeds. I mean, that whole Adam Javi thing didn't just come out of nowhere.
Yes, seeds are planted and watered like constantly. I feel. Yes.
Yeah. And so then Shauna's going to sleep. She crawls into bed, and then the camera pans out, and we see the spot where she keeps her journals, and they're gone.
Uh-oh.
And we then see it goes outside, and we see Jackie sitting by the fire reading the journals and crying. So she knows what's going on now.
I cannot imagine the inner turmoil that she felt when it clicked. Like, she obviously suspected, but like, talk about a devastating blow, finding out that not only is your best friend sleeping with your boyfriend, but now she's carrying his baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think their friendship is pretty much over at this point.
Safe to say.
And then we cut to the scene that gave me a total fucking meltdown when I watched it the first time. We see Taissa, and she's sitting in a tree. She's got the bone around her neck that Van had, a flare gun in her hand, and she hears a bunch of wolves barking, and she hears a bunch of screaming. So she fell asleep and ended up in a tree. She hops down, and the girls are fending off some wolves with torches, and she screams at them, "Where's Van?" And they say she's over there, go get her. And we see a wolf dragging Van off.
Oh my God.
And at first I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, she'll get to her in time. Everything will be fine. And then she starts hacking the wolf up. Which was a little painful to watch. Like, you just hear the dog yelping, and she's just going to town on this wolf. And she turns Van over, and Van's cheek is just completely chewed through to the teeth.
Oh my God. And once you see that, you like cannot unsee it. It is, it's pretty horrific.
I was devastated. Like, I love Van so much, and I'm like, no, this is not happening. And we could talk more about this scene in spoilers and what happens afterwards. But yeah, this was pretty devastating. And so Taissa could have very well just been responsible for her girlfriend's death.
I mean, she blew it. Like, she really, really, really blew it falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And of all the people to get attacked, having it be her girlfriend is terrible. And watching that scene and the sounds and like the fire and the wolves, I mean, it was shot very well. It was very horror movie, very horror in general. And oh my God, that face of Van's, like, oh my God. And that's how the episode ends. We end, seeing Van's face and wondering, is she alive? Is she dead? What's going to happen now? Are they going to continue on their journey? Like, what is episode 8 going to be about? What?
Yeah, because they just, they don't confirm that she's dead. They just kind of leave it there. And, I think we all pretty much assumed she was dead at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did. And was pretty devastated at the end of that episode. So,
yeah.
Woo! Well,
that was rough.
It was rough. That was a very action-packed episode. We did a lot of jumping between timelines. And to recap, we had Fuckface, the Blackmailer, as our most likely to yearbook feature, most likely to take first place in the Glitter Run 5K. We both agreed that our favorite song in this episode was Prodigy's Firestarter. During that very intense Blackmail chase scene, I could not have picked a better song for that. I think that was absolutely incredible. And I loved that it was like very like red and orange and like gave the visuals of like a fire too. It was a very like
Yeah.
fiery cinematic scene. So I think that song was great.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then we both had the same MVP. You know, we both went with Teen Taissa for being such a brave badass, risking her life, you know, to try to do the right thing and get the girls out of there. And we had a couple good 90s moments. Kelly, what was your favorite 90s thing?
The co-ed naked shirt, by far. And oh my God, if that thing is gone now, that would be really sad.
Oh my God.
But actually, no, we know it's not gone because we saw first episode, you know, with Pit Girl, we saw somebody wearing it.
Yep.
So the co-ed naked shirt did survive.
Yes, thank goodness. Thank goodness. I also love the co-ed naked shirt. I love it especially because my parents never let me wear one. I actually got one as a birthday present for like my 13th birthday, and my dad made me return it. And I think I went and bought like a Red Sox shirt instead, but loved the shirt. I also loved the While You Were Sleeping movie reference, of course, like, you know, the Sandra Bullock movie from 1995. And they used it in both timelines, which I thought was really cool how they, you know, played the movie both ways. So there were a couple of good 90s moments there.
Yeah.
And, you know, before we get to spoilers, I just want to highlight our new merch again. We have our super adorable MFQ merch, which is available at antlerqueenspodcast.com. We've got it in all different designs. And then we've got our other merch too. We've got our No Book Club. We've got Peace, Love, and Yellowjackets. We've got some cute Yellowjackets gear, Doom Coming 96, Citizen Detectives, all kinds of good stuff. So please shop at antlerqueenspodcast.com. And I think we're ready for spoilers. What do you say, Kelly? You want to give a little countdown and talk spoilers?
All right. So we're going spoiler time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. If you're here, can't complain about getting spoiled.
Spoiler alert.
So, you know, I mentioned this earlier, but I was a little surprised during the whole, like, after the whole chase sequence and everything. Did you notice the car?
I did not. Well, the minivan, the girls' minivan that they were driving, or the blackmailer's car?
The blackmailer's car.
I did not notice a specific make or model. Tell me more.
It was a silver sedan, which is what Jeff drives. And because we saw that when in the episode where Shauna was following him.
them. But like, why would he take his own car? I mean, like, logic would dictate that Shauna would recognize the car.
Yeah. Well, I think
unless he didn't expect her to be there, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I think I don't think he wanted her to find out about this. And I think you know, because later when Taissa shows up at their house, Shauna acts like they haven't spoken in a long time or seen each other in years. And so I think Jeff was kind of, and we know that Natalie hasn't been back to New Jersey in years.
Right.
So I think Jeff was probably counting on Shauna not finding out because he was just trying to like go after Taissa and Natalie and figured it wouldn't get back to her.
Right. And Shauna may or may not have gotten the postcard, which also may or may not have come from Jeff as well. It may or may not be related to the blackmail. So many questions. But
yeah. So when I saw that silver car, I was like, wait a minute, that looks like Jeff's car. And so I went back to that other episode and saw it. And I'm like, but then I started questioning it. And I'm like, okay, no, that's too obvious. There's no way that they would do that, if he was the blackmailer. But
Unless they didn't think that, you know, the fandom would pay such close attention. Like, I've read in a couple of articles where they've said they weren't expecting fans to be taking screenshots and, you know, reading so much into certain things. So, I mean, maybe it was purposeful, maybe not, but it does seem like kind of an obvious giveaway for anybody that like may have been suspecting Jeff, which, you know, this episode finally, like, I started thinking, hey, you know, maybe it is Jeff. The timing of him leaving is very strange. So of course, we find out that Jeff is definitely the blackmailer.
Yeah.
But first, we're led to believe it's Adam, right? Because we see the glitter in the
Right.
closet, and Adam was in the closet. But then we learn that Jeff was the one covered in glitter because it's his closet. But and again, like the timing of Adam showing up right after the whole blackmail thing went down. Like, there's so many pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this earlier this week, but the whole thing about Adam being outside her house really threw me. And it made me think, why would he be there unless he knew that Jeff was not going to be home? Which made me think that maybe I have this theory that that Bianca, this woman who Jeff borrowed money from, and her people, I have this theory that they're connected to Lottie's cult. And there's been talk about maybe Adam is connected to it as well. It would explain why he showed up at their house, because he knew that Jeff wasn't going to be home. And maybe he thought Shauna would be. So it was, you know, it was a perfect opportunity. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if it has any teeth, but it was just really brave of him to show up at her house.
It was. And we know that Adam is not Javi, as we've mentioned before in our spoilers. Like, the writers have actually confirmed that. But one thing about Adam, you know, that I was kind of going down some rabbit holes this week is his tattoo, right? So Adam's got the tattoo on the show, but the actor in real life does not have this tattoo. So why would they go through all the trouble of, you know, showing the tattoo, make-upping the tattoo on him? I guess make-upping, it's not really a word, but whatever. And what does it mean? You know, there's like mountains and some symbols. Like, is he part of the cult? Okay, so they said he's not Javi, but that doesn't mean that he's not somehow tied into the cult. So I think that you could be spot on with that. And I guess we just have to wait and find out, unfortunately.
And you know, if that tattoo does come into play later on, like if we find out more about Adam, even though he's dead now, if we find out more about him later on, it's kind of brilliant, because it wasn't like your typical Chekhov's gun where it's like sometimes it's so obvious, you know, like with the heart necklace, that was very obvious Chekhov's
very
gun.
Obvious.
Yeah, I mean, they really zoomed in on it. It was obvious it was gonna be of significance. But with Adam and his tattoo, it was more like, you know, she was just flashing back to them having sex, and it wasn't like they weren't zooming in on his tattoo. It was just, they just showed a brief glimpse of them getting it on, and you could see his tattoo. So
right. And, you know, one thing we do know that the writers have said is that Adam figures prominently into the present timeline moving forward for Ty, Shauna, and Nat. You know, we know that obviously he's dead, but, you know, it's interesting to see if it's just, you know, the impact of them murdering him and the consequences, you know, come back into play, or if there is a deeper connection and, you know, Adam, you know, not only do they murder him and have to deal with that, but also, you know, maybe he is connected to the cult. So I don't know. The tattoo thing is interesting. If you happen to be watching and you've checked out, you know, the Adams tattoo Reddit threads and stuff, definitely, you know, connect with us on social and let us know what you're thinking. We want to hear all of your theories. You know, you had mentioned last week the soccer jersey numbers too, which is funny. And I noticed this week that if you put Jackie and Shauna's numbers next to each other, they're 69, which, you know, I'm 12 years old, 69. But anyway, who knows? Maybe there's another deeper connection there as well.
Yeah. You know, it's also interesting too that Natalie was kidnapped right after Adam was killed. So that's I think that probably had something to do with her. It's quite possible that that could have had something to do with her being kidnapped. So that was the other reason that I thought maybe he's connected to the cult somehow.
Absolutely. And I believe I read somewhere too that in that last kidnapping scene, she says Jeff. I did not watch it back to hear that,
Ooh.
but I believe it was in the Facebook group discussion where it's like faintly heard, but like she's yelling like Jeff, or there's
Huh.
some kind of audio of her saying Jeff. I could be wrong. I'm 90% sure I read that in the Facebook group a few weeks ago. So don't quote me on it, but
Wow.
that could be a thing. I could be wrong, but I didn't just make it up either. Like I heard that somewhere. So we will have to research that further.
Yeah. And speaking of Jeff, with the way that the show is going, so like, everyone kind of hated Jeff and thought he was a tool bag because people thought he was cheating on Shauna. And then we found out, and then suddenly he became like the dream husband, and everyone's like, I want to marry Jeff because he is just like, he's so in love with Shauna, and he's just like an A+ husband. There's also the theory that he could be a little too good to be true, and we could, they obviously like to mess with us, so we could find out that there's a lot more darkness to Jeff than we realized.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for anyone that's willing to be sleeping with their, girlfriend's best friend, even if they're teenagers, like I don't put other bad behaviors past them either. So it's interesting, and it's funny because The Wilds is premiering its season 2 tomorrow, and of course we know Warren Cole. I know, I cannot wait. We've talked about covering like a crossover episode of The Wilds and Yellowjackets, but Warren Cole is actually in The Wilds as well. He plays Shelby's dad, so it's kind of funny to see him like crossing over in these two universes of teen plane crash drama series. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I think like the biggest spoiler, of course, we need to address here from this episode is that, they end on this huge cliffhanger with us thinking that Van is dead. But obviously we find out in the next episode she's not dead. I mean, first of all, the wilderness cannot kill this girl. The plane crash did not kill her. Like nothing is killing Van. She's like the Energizer Bunny. She's got 9 lives. And so this, is just another affirming thing that she's got to be alive in the present timeline. Like they're making it a point to not kill her so many times. Like
she set her on fire afterwards.
Right? I mean, oh my God, like yeah, but she's not, I don't know how she survived this, but I think they intentionally kept her alive so that she can play a part in the present timeline. But in the next episode we get into her survival, and they do like a little like surgery, and I mean she heals up really well, surprisingly, for like wilderness surgery. A little too well, right? A little suspension of disbelief there. But when I first watched this, I thought Van was dead.
Me too.
There was no chance she was coming back from this. Like no fucking chance. So I was pleasantly surprised that she survived, and pleasantly surprised at the surgical skills of, teen girls in the wilderness to, get her face all sewed up and all that. So anyway, Van is alive. Thank goodness.
I was so devastated. I just I needed to. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. I can't believe it was like my real life friend had died. Like I can't believe she's gone.
I mean, what would we do without her incredible one-liners and sarcasm? And I love everything about Van. I think she's great. So I just can't wait to see like her in the present timeline.
I know. Yeah, she and her co-ed naked soccer shirt cannot be killed.
Yes. They just keep going and going and going.
They are unkillable.
I love it. I
thought I had something else that I wanted to talk about spoiler wise, but actually I did. Travis. So, Jessica says that she knows for a fact that Travis was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
This just kind of adds more fuel to the fire for me on the theory that Taissa had something to do with that. Because Taissa's the one that hired Jessica to look into everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very, she gave up that information to Misty very easily. She told her right away. She had no problem telling her that Taissa hired her to look into everyone. And, and she mentioned, and that explains the bottle of whiskey, the expensive bottle of whiskey, where that came from.
Yep.
And because she brought it to him to try to get him to talk. And she said he wouldn't talk. And then the next thing we know, Natalie and Misty are going up to see him, and Jessica knows about the road trip. It's very possible that she could have relayed that to Ty. And when Natalie called Taissa from jail, Taissa refused to bail her out. So I'm really heavily suspecting that Taissa has something to do with his murder. Whether or not she's connected to the Lottie cult, I have no idea. But I think, I think she at least has something to do with it, or knows who did it, or, something along those lines.
Absolutely. I mean, that is very intuitive. She was the only one that, didn't go on the road trip with Shauna and Nat. And we know the Jessica Roberts connection. So, I think that makes good sense. And, one more little spoiler with Jessica Roberts, we see Misty putting the fentanyl in the chocolates. And of course, we know that she has that same protocol for fentanyl cigarettes, which ends up, crashing Jessica Roberts in her car. We assume she's dead at the end of the season. But Misty likes fentanyl. She likes syringing fentanyl into different items for consuming.
Yeah. Yeah, way to ruin some good chocolates, man.
Right? Oh my God, that MFQ strikes again.
Those chocolates look delicious. I'm kind of mad about that.
They did. They looked very good. She's always one move ahead too. She's always thinking. She's always got those gears grinding, that MFQ.
Yeah, she does. Doesn't she? It's this was really kind of a pivotal episode, I think, in their overall story, just between Van's experience of almost dying, and she, we still don't know, we haven't seen what happened while Taissa was asleep and turning into, the Lady in the Tree version of Taissa.
Who bit her hand? Did she bite her hand? Did someone else bite her hand? I mean, there's questions.
But I mean, what happened with Van? She ended up with the bone necklace around her.
Oh yes, in the 96 timeline, right?
Right. It's and Van, Van mentioned something about, she feels like she mentioned something later. I think it was the finale episode, maybe, or maybe it was Doomcoming. She mentions that there was a point where she was not dead, but not alive. And she was kind of in between. And there was something out there. And I'm wondering what she knows. If there's stuff that she knows that Taissa was doing while she was sleeping, if Van woke up and she just doesn't know how to talk to Ty about it, or
she's got to know something, because the necklace was around her neck and now Ty has it. So the necklace came off, and I don't think that's something you can just go and lift off somebody when they're sleeping. So that's very interesting to figure out what did happen, in between that first watch and her ending up with the bone and the flare gun in the tree. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It's I don't know. There are so many questions. Also, with the people that kidnapped Natalie, there's been tons of talk about that online. Somebody mentioned that they did comparison pictures of the woman that was in that group with one of the nurses or CNAs or whatever that Misty works with. A lot of people thought that they looked similar, could be the same person. So yeah, it's I mean,
so many mysteries.
That would be pretty freaky if there's a woman working with Misty who is part of Lottie's cult.
That's like a deep conspiracy. That's not just like a surface level, like, playing with some blackmail or something. That's like deep scandal conspiracy shit right there. So, wow. Like my mind will be blown if that's actually a thing.
Yeah, I'm getting so impatient. I can't wait for season 2. I need
Cannot
so many of these
wait.
questions answered.
I know. Hey, at least we have the Wilds coming tomorrow. I think that'll like help our fix a little bit. And next week we're gonna cover Yellowjackets season 1, episode 8, which is Flight of the Bumblebee. And we hope you will join us for that.
Another very pivotal episode.
Absolutely. I mean, these next 3 are all very important. Doomcoming's probably my favorite episode of the entire season. I mean, but it's hard to pick. Probably my favorite.
I mean, who knows how things would have gone down if Jackie and Laura Lee had survived, because I think they were kind of like their last threads of reality. It's before everything just went haywire.
Absolutely. Whew. Wow. Boy, did we buzz about that. That was fun. And we'll be back next week. We'll be back on Thursday with episode 8, Flight of the Bumblebee.
At the regular time.
Yes, 12:30 Pacific and
we'll be
2:30 Central
next week, right? But
I believe so. Yes, but we'll drop it at the same time. Live chat. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to go support us, shop antlerqueenspodcast.com. And thank you for tuning in. Connect with us on all of our social media channels. We'd love to hear your different theories and, fan artwork, anything like that. So with that, hey, Kelly.
Hey, what?
Buzz off.
Buzz off.
All right. Antler Queens out.
See ya.